Hi, Mark Nickerson, First Selectman, Town of East Lyme. Welcome to another exciting episode of Issues and Answers. I was thinking driving over to the studio today how important it is to have great communication, to be able to let you know, the audience, the voters, the residents, the taxpayers, the people that utilize services in our town, what's going on in town. And that you always have a conduit. You always have an opportunity to reach out, especially to the First Selectman. Traditionally, the role of First Selectman in East Lyme is one that's very active and one that's very, very much a part of the community. In other towns, it isn't. I meet with the First Selectman throughout the state, and some towns the role is just different and diminished. In East Lyme, not myself, but everybody that's been First Selectman before me are very involved. We sit on different commissions and committees, and we really are the town manager as well, the CEO of the town. Other towns have maybe a First Selectman, but also a town manager that really runs the day-to-day. So I say all that because I want you to feel like you can reach out at any point in time and call my office at 860-691-4110. Stop by the town hall. Usually by appointment is better. My days are very filled with meetings and activity and getting ready for night meetings, etc. But you can stop in, and often you'll find me just there with an open opportunity to speak. My office is located in the back of the town hall, kind of near the tax office. So come through the first floor of town hall, and you'll find my office. Sandy is my executive secretary, and she'll be able to help you slot into a time if I'm not available. And lastly, you can reach out to me directly 7 days a week, 24 hours a day at my website. That's M. Nickerson, like Mark Nickerson, M. Nickerson at eltownhall.com. Not .org, not .gov. We have a .com in East Lyme, so eltownhall.com. And if you're looking to reach anybody at our town hall, typically their email is the first initial of their first name, their last name, and at eltownhall.com. With me today is the Deputy First Selectman. Welcome, Kevin Seery.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you here today.
Yes.
Last minute, too, I kind of gave you a call and said, I need a fill-in.
Yep.
And you kind of fill in for me every once in a while.
Occasionally,
so,
yeah.
So you're filling in as my co-host today, my Ed McMahon.
Sorry, I don't have as good of a laugh as Mr. McMahon, but
you could try.
No, you don't want me to try, I assure you. But just to follow up what you said, with that open door you have, I've been there on occasion when you'll see someone come in and just say, "Hey, I wanted to talk to the First Selectman," and if you're there, you'll always find the opportunity to talk to them for a bit. And it's a good way, too. If they've heard something or if they have a concern, come in and talk to you. It's much easier to talk to you and get that information there than, we do encourage people to come to our meetings and speak during comments, but then we can't respond to them. This is where they can come into you, say, "I have a concern, I have a problem, is this true?" And we can get right back to them.
You bring up a good point, Kevin. It's every question is legitimate.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? Every question has a reason for it to be asked. And though I might not possess all the answers, we have 22 departments and department heads in town that probably do have the answers. So often I'm not the problem solver, but the guy who can introduce the solution to the problem to the resident. I don't try to pass the buck as much as I also try not to give misinformation. Mm-hmm. Someone comes in saying, "I want to know why and how come and how does this happen?" Well, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But let's point you in the right direction. So that happens a lot too. But thanks for noticing. Yeah, whenever we can, we want to sit down with taxpayers and residents. I'm in this job. It's not a career. It's not something I aspired to. We've talked about this before. Yes. I was on zoning for I think 11 or 12 years, and Paul from EEC was doing such a good job. I said, Paul, if you need any help at Board of Selectmen, I'd be happy to move from chairmanship of zoning and move up to Board of Selectmen. And I became his deputy first selectman, I think for 5 years, and then he went up to state senate, and I moved over. Not something I was aspiring to do. Once there, I realized it's a good fit for me and my job skills and management training, if you will, and so far it's worked out pretty good in my humble opinion. But I do this to serve. I do this to give back to a community, to a region that's been good to me and my family. So I'm not in it to make political capital as much as I just want to do the right thing. And if I can help someone, if I can help you, please reach out to me. That's a long way of segueing into our topic tonight, and that is serving our town. We are in my inauguration back in, I guess it was December. We introduced a program that I hoped to get off the ground within a couple months. I'd already been working on it. And sure enough, it's just about the calendar say it's been a couple months or so, Mark. Time to introduce it. And so we're introducing this, maybe we get the two-shot here, and we're introducing this logo, the East Lyme Volunteer Corps. I think it's a really cool logo. If you go back to see the town logo with the scallop shell and usually a full circle, this is kind of represents people coming together to form our town. Ooh, that's pretty good. At one point these were waves because we are a shoreline town, but we went to just the horizon and maybe the sun rising. East Lyme Volunteer Corps, what is that all about? East Lyme, I had the idea after sitting in this office for now my 4th year, and I get to meet so many people. And we talk often about the town pride in our town.
Very much so, yes.
There's just this overwhelming sensation in our town, this atmosphere of people saying, this is my town, and I'm so darn proud of it. And what can I do? What can I do to make it better? And I can't tell you how many times I am approached by people who say, what can I do? Or to say, boy, that was a great event. If I knew you needed people, I would have helped. Or I'm semi-retired or I'm retired, but I'm still young and I'm healthy and I still have my abilities. What can I do to make a difference? And I think there's just that general feeling out there in this world that, well, how can we pay it forward? How can we set it up nice for the next generation? Or just pay tribute to the people that might be a little bit older than us that have really kind of laid the foundation of this town for the town it is today. So that conversation and those thoughts gave fruit to the East Lyme Volunteer Corps, where it's kind of, if I could use the terminology of a dating site, like a Match.com. You like that? Yeah. Well,
okay.
It's easier to think of it in those terms, that I'm going to try to match people with desire for volunteerism to volunteer opportunities.
People who have an expertise in the field and can share that with other people who are in need of that expertise or the ability. I mean, it just opens up so many opportunities. And we do always hear of people wanting to do more to help. If I only know, my neighbor was in need of someone to do this. Right. I didn't know she was a shut-in or something like that, or he was a shut-in. So lots of opportunities in that manner.
It's typical in a bedroom community in this society where sometimes you don't even know who lives 4 houses down from you, or you don't see them, but on the holidays or when they're shoveling or cutting their grass, and you might slow down and wave. So there might be those opportunities where we can marry up some need and some desire to serve our fellow citizens in our town. And then the bigger picture, organizations like Care and Share or the Children's Museum or Celebrate East Lyme, where we need volunteers on a constant basis. And we can say, here, this is how you do it. So we're asking people to go to a website. It's actually the town hall website, www.eastlyme.org. eltownhall.com, just like our email addresses, eltownhall.com. And when you get on there and you click, just look on the front page, you'll see this new logo, and click on it, and there'll be a sign-up page. And how this will work is you'll give some information, and then I think the program, of course it's a web-based program, it will send you back a confirmation that it's really you. And we took security to a high level here. We wanted to make sure, first of all, your name wouldn't be sold or would be captured in a way that could be used for the public. We're capturing your name and your information. We'll send you back a confirmation. When you send it back to us with a password, then we'll ask you some of your skill levels. Some of your what things you might be specifically good at. It might be carpentry and electrician or some specialty skills, but also what you might be capable of, whether it's helping us shovel out a senior citizen or drive a senior to a doctor's appointment once a week or something like that. So we're looking for drivers. We're looking for someone who might be able to tutor in a particular subject. It might be a foreign language, or you might be really good at science or math. Maybe you can help us out, and we can marry you and your expertise with a struggling or an aspiring high school student, or a local college student who also might be looking for tutoring. That's the concept. Is just signing up. When you sign up, we're going to then create a list of need. So all those organizations that I mentioned, the Care and Shares, the churches, the activities. And once a month, we'll send an email blast out to the people that would qualify, saying, hey, I'm going to use the example of Care and Share. Care and Share needs people for a food drive special thing this coming Saturday. If you're interested, reach out to this person at this phone number or this person at this email. So we won't actually be involved with calling people and say, hey, can you show up and all that. We're going to let the organizations and the individuals voluntarily connect with one another. But we'll use this East Lyme Volunteer Corps as the conduit, as the liaison between the two. And that's how we envision this working out. We also will send some email blasts out, and maybe reach out individually to people that in a specific neighborhood who might be looking to shovel and will have a need for a senior. We're also thinking about litter patrol. If you drive around, our public works just can't keep up with the 120 miles of town roadway. And if it's your neighborhood, it's maybe within a mile of your home and you're out taking a walk anyway, we'd ask you, hey, be a volunteer and maybe pick up some of those discarded things on the side of the road. What do you think? What am I missing?
Nothing. One of the things, and I think several of us did it during the Christmas season, Salvation Army didn't have enough people to go around to ring all the bells this year outside of the various stores. So several of us volunteered our time to ring a bell and help collect money in front of Stop and Shop. And you see people you know, and hopefully it makes you feel a little more generous too.
Yeah.
But that's something that people probably didn't realize. And if they could go online and see, hey, there's a need for you to spend, and it was just a couple hours of ringing the bell. Actually, I didn't ring it the whole 2 hours because it doesn't take long. Well, it doesn't take long for the bell to it gets a little annoying. But simple things like that people don't know that there's a need for. I'll go out there and ring a bell for even an hour because you're providing a service. And then you also find out a little bit more about what they use those funds for and so forth like that.
Volunteering is good for you, it turns out.
Yes, you were telling me.
There's studies that say if you, especially older Americans, if you volunteer, you live longer, you feel better about yourself.
Why are you looking at me when you're saying if you're older?
If you're older,
okay.
Clearly.
Okay.
We have young. We can also envision some of our high school students signing up. Although we don't have a community service requirement for graduation in this town, I think we should. I think our town should go to that direction. I know there's a lot of high schoolers that feel encouraged whether it's encouraged by their parents pushing them, or a spirit of, and I think it's just true of this new generation coming up, a spirit of this is my town and I'm here to take care of it, and paying it forward. And I think that's very healthy. So there's a place for the high schoolers to also sign up. They might be volunteering for programs within their school, which I'm sure they're already inundated with communication about those needs, but also opportunities for outside the school. So it's a good resume builder when they're building their college transcripts, etc., to be involved in our community. And I don't think, I think this is we started the show talking about communication. We started talking about how that's the whole purpose of the show. It's the whole purpose of really my office, and hopefully of this program is to communicate need in our community and opportunities in our community as well. I know Parks and Rec at one point we're talking about that commission there, talking about boardwalk ambassadors, of people who would issue maybe T-shirts to that would be pretty visible identifiers, maybe bright red with Niantic Boardwalk Ambassador, or maybe on the back shoulder, and they'll become kind of information center for people who might be visiting our town and ask a question. I know I used to take my family skiing up to Killington, and they probably like other ski mountains.
They have those.
There's ambassadors. How do I get from this lift to that chair to that mountain? And you're encouraged to stop them and ask them. And I was envisioning that. So maybe kind of almost our own little chamber of commerce, or people who would be in the know about the boardwalk, about the beaches, about parking, about events coming up in our town. We have the new band shell. We want to put as many concerts as we can and performances on that band shell, but it takes people to do that. Maybe you could volunteer to be member of the volunteer park and rec crew that could help us just clean up after a concert, or set up, or make sure the parking is set up right, and get people to where they need to be. Other things, beautification. Our Main Street, I know you hear this a lot, how beautiful it is in the summer. All those flowers, all those flower pots, the hanging flowers, they all seem to be coordinated. That doesn't happen on its own.
No, it does not.
Well, that's a hard work. Sue, right?
Sue Cumro, the Main Street organization, they spend a lot of time, and they've made it such a signature place to be at the Main Street area, and they take care of getting out there, watering the plants. They get out there early in the morning. If you'll see around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, someone is out there, gets in that little cart and goes up and down the road watering them. The town doesn't do that. These are people that are associated with the Main Street group that do this. So, and Sue does a great job. Well, they all do. Terry down over at Smith Acres. There's just so many people in Main Street organization that have made our town and made that Main Street area such a destination.
And they could use help.
Always.
And they could use help, because we could also extend the beautification down Penn Ave, down Hope Street, which it has been extended, but we could do even more with volunteers. Maybe yourself, maybe you're a green thumb, and maybe once a week or once every other week you had the commitment back to the town of pruning some of the flowers, clearing out some weeds, watering some of the flowers, and that's what this is all about. So we're really looking for volunteers throughout our town, every age group, every skill level. If you think you'd like to give back to the town of East Lyme, we'd like to hear from you. Go on eltownhall.com. That's the town hall webpage, and you'll find all sorts of information on there. But what you're looking for is right on the front page, either in the first block or the second block. You'll see the new logo, East Lyme Volunteer Corps. Click on it, give us your information. You'll read more about it in the events magazine that's coming out later this month, and you'll see Facebook postings and more articles on it. We hope to get some press involved on it too. I think it's a great idea. I was encouraged by, we had this idea, but really it was sitting kind of in a drawer. And we had a volunteer show up.
Here again, a high school.
A volunteer. Sometimes these kids can really inspire you. And Andrew Dejot
yes.
Is an Eagle Scout prospect. And he was looking for an Eagle Scout project. And I kind of figuratively pulled out the drawer and said, I got a project that I think could make a big difference in our town. And not just for a moment, but to extend this this feeling we have in our town of town pride and people giving to the community, not just taking. It's harder. First of all, so thank you, Andrew Dejad. Because we take this during school hours, he couldn't be here. He was hoping to be one of our guests, but he's hard at work behind the scenes setting this up. And as we start rolling this out, he'll be part of the email blasts and getting organizations to sign up and all that. It's harder and harder. I was going to say it's harder and harder to create livable municipal budgets. I don't want to turn a good episode, a real positive, wow, what a great town and what great people we have that pay it forward and all that, turn this into a negative. But we're in a state where, in the state of Connecticut, where we're losing state funding all the time. And of course, costs are high anyway, and they're being driven up by union contracts and just the cost of medical insurance and the cost of fuel oil and the cost of repairing a building. We're about to redo our 3 schools at the tune of $35 million. That costs money, obviously. So when we can find opportunities where we can enhance the town, like litter patrol, like beautification, like beach patrols. Maybe on Monday mornings we have people kind of comb the beaches and pick up the trash that may have been left behind on a busy weekend, or boardwalk ambassadors. And there's a number of other things. We have organizations all over town like Rotary and Lions. We're always at events, and they could always use a helping hand, even if you don't want to become a Rotarian or a Lion, because you don't have that time commitment or the monetary commitment it takes to become a member of those service clubs. They could always use a friend.
Yeah, well, a perfect example is the Lions Club lobster event every year on the 4th of July weekend.
Great example.
Last couple of years, they've had trouble getting enough people to do all the work involved, because I helped out the last couple of years. Yeah. It's a very arduous several hours, because if you're with the lobsters, you're pulling them out, putting them in. It's hot.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and they always are so grateful for any opportunity. I know last year a lot of the high school football players came by and volunteered some time. Previous year to that, some Navy corpsmen came over from the sub base. It'd be just great, and there's always plenty for people to do, even if you can only give an hour.
Yeah.
It's just so helpful to them.
It's a perfect example, because to put that thing on, it takes dozens and dozens of people, and there's not dozens and dozens of Lions anymore in any of these organizations. So they do look for outside help. Mm-hmm. That's a great example, and we'll be looking for you to volunteer, and we might be able to marry you up with the Lions Club. The Rotarians do the same thing. They have events where they need help. I worked at the Lions thing the last couple of years too. Do you know what my job was?
No, what was? Oh, you basically greeted people. I know, as they'd come in, you'd help them. What do you have the right tickets? Because sometimes people would get into line and not knowing that they already had to purchase their tickets elsewhere.
Right.
And
so I was head of schmoozing. So I worked the line, which I guess is the chief politician in town is probably a good thing. And then I was talking to my dad the other day. He's a Knights of Columbus down in Florida, and I said, "What are you doing?" He's going to be at the fish fry for the next bunch of weeks, and on Fridays, I said, "What's your job, Dad?" "Well, I'm in charge. I'm working the line to make sure everyone has tickets." I went, "Oh boy, like father, like son." I wonder where I get it from. I know Dad's not watching or listening because he's down in Florida working the line at the fish fry at KFC. But it takes everybody. I hate to use that term. It takes a village, but we have one heck of a village, and I do often use the metaphor of it takes all these puzzle pieces to make the puzzle complete. And if one piece is missing, the puzzle's never complete. And we all have different skill levels, and we all have different time commitments that you might only be able to invest a little bit of time. But we have youth sports that are, the last couple of years they've been looking for coaches for youth basketball and a few others. Yeah. We could use volunteers all over town. So by all means, please. Enough talking about it. Lots of opportunity, as you can see. I'd like you to get involved. I'd like you to get online and go to eltownhall.com. Look for the volunteer core button, hit it. It will ask for some information. We'll send you a confirmation to make sure it's you and make sure you're not giving us fake information and all that. We'll send it back out, and that second email that comes to your box, you'll be checking off things that you might be interested in volunteering with. If you don't have an email, well, this is really all email based, but if you need help signing up, call my office, and Sandy in my office will help you at 691-4110, or come into the office and we'll sign you up at the First Selectman's office at Town Hall. If you have ideas, or if you're part of an organization that needs volunteers, maybe it's once a year, maybe it's a couple times a year, maybe it's seasonal, let me know. Call my office at 691-4110 and let us know. We want to, now that we're compiling the list of the people who want to volunteer for our town, now we have to start compiling the list of the need. And there's plenty of need out there. Our list is already quite extensive.
Yes, it is.
Kevin, lots going on in town. We're building that park down on Main Street. We're putting bathrooms into Cheney Park. We're going to have a full schedule of band performances and theater performances up at the band shell this year.
Yeah. And don't forget, in the next month, we have the Boardwalk 5K coming up.
The 5K, is that in April?
Yes, that's in April.
Okay.
We got lots of great things coming up
for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I know. You had a better time than my son, the National Guard fitness guru.
Did I really?
Yeah. Well, of course, he got in that part. It would take a little longer to get going because you get behind people. You were right out front of everybody.
Well, front of the line privileges happen when you're first selectman.
Yes, it does.
It's been a pleasure to have you, Kevin. Thanks for getting me through this half hour. Thanks for tuning in. This is East Lyme Issues and Answers. We do this every couple weeks or so. If you have a suggestion for a show, if you'd like to be on a show to promote your organization, give me a call. You know where to find me. Send me an email. I'd be happy to have you on too, or just come on by to the office or give a call and with a question. I'd be happy to help you anytime. My name is Mark Nickerson, First Selectman of Town of East Lyme. Issues and Answers signing off for this week. We'll see you again soon.